Hello and welcome to SpotLight.
It's the podcast that lifts the curtain on live here at Wolverhampton Grand Theatre. I'm Tonia.
I'm Scott, and today we are joined by one of our own here in Wolverhampton. It's Solomon Davy.
Hey, what's up? How are we doing?
Hey, Solomon, we're so happy to have you.
Thank you for having me. I'm so happy to be here.
And welcome home.
Thank you very much. Good to be back.
Yeah, welcome home, Bab.
Welcome home, Bab.
I feel better, don't we?
There's the accent.
That's more natural.
there's the accent.
It might slip out with you, Tonya. I'm not gonna lie. It might slip out.
We'll keep it good.
Yeah.
So you're here with Hairspray playing Link, which we're going to get onto in a little bit, but we're going to start where we should start, really.
Yes.
We're going to take it right the way back and sort of ask really where your performing journey began here in Wolverhampton. Go on.
So, performing journey began properly when I was 2. I don't really remember it, but my mom retells the story a lot.
This.
I know it from that. So Carol Sutty's, as we mentioned before, Carol Sutty's School of Dance was in Bilbrook, which is right next to where I live, in Codsall. And my sister used to go when she was 4, and I'm 2 years younger, so I was 2. And she when we used to pick her up, me and my mum would go. And apparently, obviously I don't remember, I didn't have consciousness at this point, but apparently I used to want to join in at the side, and I was really excitable every time I went to pick her up. So they said if he's potty trained, he can join, and I was potty trained, so I joined.
Wow.
And I feel like I've told this story about 5 times in the past week, so and then I joined, and that was just always part of my life every Saturday with my sister, and it was a school of 200 students. I was the only boy for most of the time I was there, so it always just felt like, just a massive part of my childhood, and I never felt like I was as me as I was when I was there.
Amazing,
Do you know what I mean?
yeah.
And then grew up dancing there, and then when I was 7, I started going to Transit Tricks, which was a.
We know, of course I know. Listen. So you can break dance and everything.
Yeah, I started breaking when I was 7.
Solomon, don't get me all excited.
So started Transit Tricks when I was about 7 at Newhampton Arts
Amazing.
in town, and that sort of brought me to another side of dance, because what I'd done so far was ballet and tap, and they called it musical comedy and disco and that type of thing, which was obviously very different. Yeah, exactly. That vibe is very different to the breaking culture. So getting to be with a really masculine side of dance that I hadn't been exposed to before was just so eye-opening. I loved all types of dance, so I was just so happy to be in that part of it as well. And that was a really formative experience for me growing up, being a part of that crew. And I was there till I was 12, 13, I think, which is the same time around when I left Carol's. And then did Bilston Operatics, did RSM Stage Academy as well, which was another really formative part of my childhood.
So how old was you when you did RSM?
I think I was 11 when I started RSM, and then that was sort of my first exposure to musical theatre. I hadn't touched musical theatre properly, but the singing and acting thing was always in the back of my head. I always would do the plays at school, the school plays and stuff like that, and but not expose myself to it as much as I did when I went to RSM. And then started Bilston. I only did 1 year of Bilston. We did Legally Blonde when I was in year 11, so that's skipping forward a little bit.
Yeah.
And played Warner, and that was probably the sort of cornerstone to me wanting to do musical theatre sort of going forward. I still had a massive part of me that was just dance based as well, outside of musical theatre, but then acting and singing sort of the interest in that spiked as well. And then that's where I went to college, so I started auditioning for drama schools and got into a place called Wilkes Academy, which I loved my audition day of, and they offered me a scholarship there and then, and I was like, I'm gonna go here. I remember I came out to my mom, and I tried to trick her. I don't know whether it worked, but I was like, oh mom, it went so bad, they offered me a full scholarship, it was horrible. And she was like, what? And then I said in the car, literally on the car park, I think I remember saying, I'm going here, this is the place I want to go, just from the vibe of the day.
Yeah.
That's,
so where's Wilkes? Explain.
So Wilkes is in Swindon, which is about an hour out of London.
Because not many people will know where.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, if you're from here.
Listeners.
Yeah, I didn't know Swindon until I went to Wilkes, but the school is a great school. I remember, that day was so great. Like my audition experience was so positive and fun, and it just felt like this is the type of place I want to come to. I know they trained great dancers and had amazing stuff going on in the school, but the vibe of it was what like sold it to me in a way, because I'd been to some other drama schools and it maybe was like a really prestigious name and all that, but I didn't necessarily get the same sort of like family vibe that I got when I went to Wilkes. So yeah.
And what year was this? Are we talking? Was this affected by COVID at any point?
No,
or
so
Okay,
I was.
good.
This is year 11 for me, so I'm 16.
Okay.
So like doing GCSEs and all that, and that was 2019. So literally just before the pandemic.
That you were doing that.
Yeah. So the pandemic hit in my first year of Wilkes.
Oh, so you were there. When,
So
you
I
were
was
there, but you weren't. It wasn't like uni. It was like that age, like GCSE. Or A-levels.
So yeah, I understand what you're saying now. So the pandemic was when I was at Wilkes.
When you were training,
literally
so
like in my training, because I was doing a 3-year course and it ended when I was 19. So 2019 to 2022 was my like official years at Wilkes, and that was literally COVID, right? So that was a big part of my training. Obviously, the college handled it as best they could, which is such a hard thing to handle when no one else is facing stuff like that. Well, everyone's facing it, but for the first time. So yeah, we did the best we could in on Zoom and doing sort of social distancing classes and all of that stuff, which was crazy. Now that I look back on that time, it was
a crazy time
wild,
for all of us.
It really was, yeah. I mean, if we carry on with sort of the life story, I mean, I did a 4th year at Wilkes, started doing an extra year, which was like kind of a year, like a bridge into the industry. They sort of offered so you could audition through the college agent at the school.
So it was separate from. So you did your 3 years.
Yeah, that was the diploma.
Yeah, and then you actually applied to do the 4th. Yeah.
Kind of, yeah. They sort of invited me to do it, and it's a very sort of...
They sort of invited you. Come on, Solomon. We love it.
Well, you can't apply for it. It's sort of something... It's a very... like free form opportunity. I guess it's quite an unofficial thing because it's not like you're attached to a course. You're just going in to train every day. Wow. It's literally just to get better. It's not to get any type of qualification or anything. Wow. And Wilkes was sort of like that anyway. That was sort of their whole bag. It's like the course is really important, obviously, but like we're here to make you as an individual great. Wow. Am I doing all right with the mic? Yeah. I'm conscious of
No, you're good. You're good.
So yeah, I started that 4th year, and they were so kind to offer it to me. Like I was so grateful when they did, because I'd sort of had it in the back of my mind that I think I'd like to do it, because I still felt like I could get more out of the training, and lads before and girls before in the college had done it. So I was like, I wonder if they asked me. So they did ask me, and then I started auditioning through the college agent. Shout out Joe Scanlon, legend, who was putting me up for MT stuff tours, and then my first town audition was Back to the Future, and I went in for a tricking track, so my breaking came in handy there, and it was all through the same casting director, David Grimrod, and I could tell that he sort of was like, he was putting me in for a lot of things, so I felt like I was, gonna maybe get an opportunity through him soon enough if I just kept throwing him up the wall. And then he put me in for Grease, and I was in for ensemble, and did all the rounds, kept getting through, and I was like, okay, this is going really well. And
how many I just want, before you get to the point, just because sometimes for some of our viewers, especially our younger viewers, who would look to you and say, well, how did you do this? Just say a little bit about the rounds of what, when you're saying these rounds, because I know there's a lot of rounds. Yeah. So just say a little bit about those rounds.
Yeah, for sure.
And how it made you feel before you get to them.
Yeah, so it's terrifying. It's absolutely terrifying, especially when it's your first time. I think you get a lot. I mean, it's never not scary, but you get used to it the more you do it.
And this is still your first job, right?
This is still my first
auditioning for your first job.
I'd done like 2 or 3 auditions before this. I think I did Greatest Days, I did Back to the Future. I think that was it. Yeah. So I'd done like 2 proper ones. And so the rounds are like... I think my first round was dance, and then they'll sort of keep you if they like you, and they'll get you to sing. Yeah. And that's, lots of people, they've got a rough idea of who they want, but they're just seeing who's in the room and who's auditioning at that time to sort of scope out what their vibe is. Yeah. And then I think the second round, I sang and did material from the show, so they wanted me doing like songs from the show and a bit of scene work from the show. And that was, I was in for cover for Johnny Casino and cover for Kinnicky. I think I was in for Johnny Casino first, which is a sort of like the, how could you compare it? Do you know the guy in the film that like sings the song at the dance?
Yeah.
It's
that, like the radio guy.
The radio
right?
host, exactly. Yeah. Oh no, Vince Fontaine's the radio guy.
Oh, Vince Fontaine's the radio guy.
Yeah. I don't like, Johnny's not in the film, but he's the guy that sings the dance song.
Yes.
Vince Fontaine's a separate character.
Yeah.
So yeah, I was in for that, and then the next round I did material and music again, and it was cover stuff for Kinnicky, who's like Danny Zuko's like best friend, and then I kept getting called in doing Kinnicky stuff and all that material. And it just sort of goes round by round. I think I did 4 rounds, so it's not too much. I know people who have done like 8 or 9. Do you know what I mean? So that was
still a lot.
Yeah,
and terrifying.
Yeah. I think I thought my 3rd round was going to be a final, and then it wasn't, and they called me back again because Nikolai Foster, the director, shout out to Nikolai. He was only in on the last round, so there was sort of like this extra round so that Nikolai could see everything, and pick whether he wants you sort of thing. So I went back in. Nikolai has this very specific thing he does for when people audition for him, which he asks you to write a monologue for your character.
Really?
Which is a
That's
crazy
deep.
request.
You're already doing character work.
Yeah.
Hello, pay me first.
Exactly. No, but shout out to Nikolai for doing that, because so it's a bold thing to ask actors to do, but then at the same time, for me personally, like, because I was so locked in on that audition, I wanted nothing more than to like have that job. It really pulled a lot more acting wise out of me, because you're responsible for showing your character in a writing sense and representing them in a writing sense, not just a
dancing movement.
Dancing, singing sense.
So just another layer to that.
Exactly. It shows how well you sort of know a character, really. And I worked so hard on that monologue, and I was really proud of it in the end, and then did that for him. And this whole time I was in for ensemble, and I was in for cover Kinnicky and Johnny Casino, and then like a week later my agent Joe told me that I got Kinnicky, and I was
actually Kinnicky.
There's a video of that.
There is, this infamous video that I never hear the end of from my friends. So that was like a massive moment in my life.
I mean, what was going through your head at that moment? Because presumably you go in there to find out whether or not you're in the show, first of all. Then probably expecting ensemble.
Completely. I was going to be like, so in the video actually, first they tell me that I got the show originally, and this is my reaction to me thinking I got ensemble. And then they say like, and there's one more thing, you got Kinnicky. It's like, and then you sort of see like the realization in my eyes. And that feeling is, I said this before, but it's like indescribable. It's completely indescribable, especially because I was so shocked, because I was like, I was going to be so grateful and happy and content with just being in the show in any way. So the fact that I was trusted to do Kinnicky was a massive blessing. So then
take us to this opening night, right? You've gone through training, you've done a couple of auditions, landed your first West End job, got a leading role in this West End job, and then there you are at the Dominion Theatre, one of the biggest theatres in the West End. Grease lightning.
Listen, everybody's dream. It's
it
just
was
like
crazy.
the best.
It must have been insane.
Do you know, there's only one thing that I remember from that night. From the first preview, it wouldn't have been press night. It was like the first preview, so the first time we're going out there and doing it in front of an audience. I don't remember the show at all, because I probably blacked out the whole time. But I remember walking into my dressing room after it, and I just wept. I just wept completely. And Nikolai came in with his dog to say he's got his cute little dog. And he came in, and I was like, who is it? And he like walked in with his dog like, I just wanted to say like, well done. And I was like, thanks. And that's all I remember from that night. I must have been so overwhelmed. That was just, it wasn't sadness. It was just like everythingness just hit me after I came upstairs, because it was such a big lead up to it as well. Like, my whole life in a way.
Yeah. I mean, it just shows how important these jobs are, but also how serious you take your craft, and developing it. Even when you talk about the monologue and how grateful you are, some people would be like, oh, that's more work. But you were like, give me the work, I will do the work, you know?
Sure, yeah.
Let's fast forward on to now then. Why you are here, back home in Wolverhampton at the Wolverhampton Grand Theatre.
Come on.
So come on, how are you feeling? So tell us, fast forward, how did you come to play Link?
So
amazing character.
yeah,
What a Link.
great character.
I know.
What a Link. Nice.
Thank you.
So David Grimrod casts Hairspray, who also casts Grease, and this is a wild story. And again, I am so blessed that he trusted me to do this.
We like wild stories.
I mean, I'm not going to overhype it, but I was really busy with a job. I did a job called Clueless earlier last year. Now, it was in sort of a workshop phase, and it did a development run, which I was lucky enough to be a part of. But it was a crazy schedule. We were doing I think I had like an hour and a quarter commute, which was stupid of me to not get digs nearer the place. But I had like an hour and a quarter commute, and we'd start at 12. We'd like rehearse all day, and then we'd do the show at night. So we'd come out at like 10:30. So it was these really long days because the show was in development; it wasn't finished. So we had these days where one day we changed the whole of the finale. We had like new sheet music, new choreo, new lines, new music on the day, and we had to do it for an audience that night, which is just like that job was intense. Let's just say that.
Yeah.
So I was in this job whilst David was casting Hairspray, and I was like, I really want to be in Hairspray. I really want to give Link a go, and it's David, so I think he will see me. I was talking to my agent, and we just couldn't fit it in. There wasn't a time because Clueless was 6 days a week, and it was like 10 hours a day. So it just wasn't working. So he said, okay, let him tape for it, and I taped like all the scenes, both the songs. Did this like fat self tape, just trying to get whatever I could in for them to see. And I think it's obviously because David had trusted me with Grease, and I'd done hopefully a good job that he trusted enough to cast me off the self-tape. So he cast me off the tape. And yeah, that's how I ended up here doing Hairspray. And we've been going for like 8 months now, and it's been great.
Oh my goodness, I just cannot wait to see it. I'm going to see you tomorrow.
Oh my God, okay, I bet it'll be good.
It's the wrong musical.
I bet it'll be good tomorrow. Still good though, still good. Still props, yeah.
I'm always trying to get props off people, like literally Ascot. Really try my hardest every single time. And we put blue and pink on.
Yeah, you guys are dressed for Hairspray.
I saw the show last night, had the best time. I love Hairspray anyway, but to see it here at the Grand with local people doing a great job.
That's what I'm excited about.
Is fab. And I mean, it looks like you're all just having the best time up there.
Oh man,
right?
It's such a fun show. Like, it doesn't stop. It's so intense, but in the best way.
But also for a show like this, I mean, the themes that the show presents. I mean, how for you is that part of the pull as well?
Absolutely, yeah. It's
Beef on Wolves.
Yeah, exactly. It's such a heartfelt show, and like, you know, Wolves is a very diverse place. So I've grown up around a lot of different people, and yeah, to have this kind of show and tell this kind of story, it means a lot. It's like I say, a privilege to be trusted with the work. 100%.
You mean a lot to us.
Oh,
you
really
do.
Stop it.
You really do, because we love our performers and our artists that are from Wolverhampton, that they go off, they do what they've got to do, but they come back and they always love being back here at the Grand.
Yeah.
And it's just quite lovely. I mean, when's the last time that you performed at the Grand?
So it would have been with Carol's. So
what?
Yeah, so we did with Carol Sutty. We did. I would have done 11 years worth of shows here once a year. In November, we do like a, what would you call it, like a showcase of just a load of different dance pieces. And that was like a massive night every year for my family, because my sister as well, who I mentioned earlier, May, was in Carol's, and yeah, we would do that together, and all my family would come, and we had like friends and family friends and stuff who were in Carol's and would come as well. So that was like the big kind of. My dad used to say it was the best night of the year every year, which is really sweet. So yeah, that I finished Carol's when I was 13. So I think about 12 was the last time I was on that stage.
That you was on this stage right here, and then you come back big and bold, and you're obviously you're not that old, and you're not that big. You know what I mean? But do you know what I mean?
Long.
Long, not old, long. And how did it feel to be back
It's crazy. Like walking up the stairs when I first got here, that level 1 that my dressing room's on right now, that me and the boys are sharing. At the end, there's what is now the company office that Leighton's using for the show. That was my dressing room when I did Carols.
Which is a pokey little room.
Yeah, it's a tiny little room, but because it was like 200 girls in the school, they'd obviously it's babies. It's like 2-year-olds to 10-year-olds. Yeah. So they would shove a load of girls in the dressing rooms basically, and obviously I couldn't go in with the girls past a certain age, so at one point they started putting me in that little office, and that was my dressing room. All the girls used to hate me, I think, because I had my own dressing room, and they were all like shoved in, like all packed in these boxes.
And now you're back, but you're sharing with 3 or 4 others.
Exactly, but performing last night was great. I mean, it's such a full circle. It's the definition of a full circle moment, isn't it? So
if for your family coming to see you in your dance shows was the night of the year, I'm hoping that one night this week is
Saturday
night.
Saturday
night this week. This is going to be the night of the year.
Yeah.
Amazing. I was just going to say that for you, what do you see for your future projects? Like, what sort of other projects are you kind of like sniffing out, going, I'd like to have a little taste of this?
Yeah, there's so much that I want to do. Like, I have so much interest in so many different things. So I feel like almost sort of sometimes like, so chill out. Like, why are you trying to do so many different things? But I think that's sort of why I've naturally fell into musical theatre, because it's a compilation of so many different arts. But there's honestly like an abundance of things I want to do. I'd love to touch screen stuff and see if there's any potential in that. I'd love to carry on with theatre and keep doing that. I'd love to touch like plays and more serious dramatic pieces. And then there's like stuff in dance culture as well that sort of outside of MT that I'd love to do more on as well. And I just love, I think my sort of intention going forward is more just to work on stuff that I'm really just like proud to be a part of and feel like is rooted in some like integrity and has some real push behind it, and is for creative purposes, not for commercial purposes. That's sort of my bag going forward, I think.
Solomon, you're literally ticking every single creative box that there is to create.
It's like we have a list of things here at the Grand that we try and achieve, and you've sort of just gone
like,
through that. But if we can support you anyway here at the Grand, you know, we were just saying on another podcast episode how supportive the people of Wolverhampton are. They take their own and look after them and support them, and we try and here at the Grand we try and support our local talent as much as we can, and support that, and we
know you've got a following as well, isn't it? You've got a big following. Everybody wants a TikToking with Solomon Davy.
And we love it, and we love you, and
we're
having the best week together here, aren't we?
Thank you so much. Thank you for the kind words, I appreciate it.
Thank you for coming, and
of course.
We are going to wrap it up. We do a little sneaky thing that we put on.
Oh God!
I know. We do, and you don't have to, but you might want to. And I don't know if you already know. Have you ever watched one of our podcasts?
I have. I watched.
No,
I don't think I do. I do. I can't lie. I didn't watch the whole thing.
You've watched only halfway.
Okay.
Yeah,
I watched like 10.
Is
that the rookie mistake?
Yeah. Okay.
So I have no idea.
All it is that we started this podcast. How long have we been doing
it's been a year now.
It's been a year now. But
congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And we love it. We're loving it.
Come on.
So basically, what we tend to do is ask our guests if they want to. We never really came up with a jingle for our podcast.
Oh no! Don't make me do this.
No, don't let me do this. Look at all the bangers I'm coming out with.
You're better at this than me, Tonia.
So we let our guests create their own jingle.
Can I bring one back?
Podcast. You can do anything.
Whatever you want.
You can see anything. You can do it in whatever tune, and the only requirement is just to put the word SpotLight podcast at the Grand Theatre.
Wolverhampton.
The Wolverhampton Grand.
Do you know what me and Duncan have been doing like all week? But you're gonna hate it. We've been walking around the theatre going, Wolverhampton, because of the football. So maybe it needs to be like SpotLight podcast or something.
Yeah. So Wolverhampton.
SpotLight podcast.
Yeah.
Wolvo.
Yeah, that was it. That was it.
That was the rehearsal. Here we go.
Okay, what are we doing? Am I doing?
You're going Spotlight podcast, and we're gonna say Wolverhampton.
So we'll cue it in with Wolverhampton, yeah. Then
Spotlight podcast. Yeah, let's do it. All right, ready?
Come on then, lads.
What are we doing?
I'll go 5, 6, 7, 8. Ready?
Okay.
5, 6, 7, 8. Wolverhampton Spotlight Podcast.
Wolverhampton. Sorry, I
was just ready to go.
That's it.
Dave, you are just a dream. You are our Wolverhampton
I apologise,
star.
everybody. Sorry.
You are Wolverhampton star. We absolutely love you. Thank you so much. Please go and come and get your tickets. If you haven't already, you probably already watch it. You've already probably got your tickets, but make sure you get your tickets. You know the details.
Yeah, grandtheatre.co.uk.
Yeah. Thank you so much for having me, guys.
And, and maybe hopefully, Solomon, if we don't see you in Hairspray this week, they'll come and see you in something else here sometime soon in the future.
In the future.
Hopefully. So thank you for being on our podcast.
Thank you for having me. Thank you so much.
Thank you everyone at home for watching, and we'll see you in the next one. Down that camera there.
Bye.